Hello, everyone. My name is Oriolu Ashunibara, and you're welcome to Divide. Honestly, I've been sleeping on this for way too long, and it's time to finally get to it. And yes, this is the first episode. Um, this is Divide, and this is my podcast. First of all, the podcast is a form of expression for myself, self-expression. I think there are many things that I would like to say and I would really like to document them. I don't know what the next 10 years of my life will look like, but I think it's good to document your thoughts per time. Whether it's in writing or in podcasting, I feel like that's very important and it's very essential for you as a person. First of all, that's one of the reasons why I really like Twitter. Like Twitter is a is an endless notebook where you have comments. Um, like you just have thoughts and you share them, and you meet people that think like you, meet people that don't think like you, meet people that are ready to cut your head for the thoughts that you have, and you also meet people that want to learn and you can learn from, and that's one of the things I really like about like expressing yourself. It can lead to development. It can lead to refining your thoughts. It can lead to many things. So why not? So that's one of the reasons. Actually, one of the major reasons why I'm doing this podcast, because I feel like there's a lot that I would like to express and I would like to document, and I feel like some of that would help those that will listen. So why not? My name is Orolo Ashonibare. I am happily married to the love of my life, Orolo Macaulay Kamisa Olayera Oyem. I like calling her full name. And Shonibare, yes, I've added Shonibare to it. We're married. I got married 4 months ago. Best decision I made in my life. Forever grateful to have met the love of my life in this life. I am also a member of Celebration Church. Shout out to Pastor Emmanuel Aaron. Massive blessing in my life. I'm really grateful that I met you in this life. I'm also the CEO and co-founder of We Create. Shout out to my co-founders and shout out to my team members. It's a privilege to work with you guys and it's a privilege to create the magic we create. Pun intended. A bit about my background. I'm a Yoruba boy struggling with sprinkles of H factor. Ishok. I grew up in Lagos. I'm a Lagosian. I'm the last born of three. We're a family of five. Doctor and director Shonibare. Interestingly, my mom and dad had the same initials. They have the same initials. They are D.O. Shonibare, D.O. Shonibare. And I and my wife, we also have the same initials, O.S. or Olua Shonibare or Olua Shonibare. So I guess same names did not start with me. Regarding my education, I went to Igbobi College, graduated in 2012. Went on to Oxbridge Tutorial College, graduated in 2014. Went on to Bowen University where I studied mass communication, specializing in public relations and advertising. I'm really proud of all the institutions I've been a part of. So I put out a tweet just to get an idea of what people would like to know about me. And I got some really interesting questions which I will get to right about now. So Ichi asked, what's my favorite movie genre? I love action, sci-fi movies. I also love romantic movies. Me Before You and the likes. Favorite book in the Bible, Proverbs and romance. Proverbs because you learn a lot about wisdom and about life. Romance because Paul was on it in romance. He's always on it, It's Paul. What other sports do I play well aside from football? I play football very well. I almost went pro with football. Other sports I play, table tennis. Table tennis is another sport I wanted to go pro with, and I'm still very good at it, if I must say. Other hobbies, I'm just talking about hobbies. Other hobbies include, I love playing Ludo. I really like it. The electronic Ludo is such a brilliant innovation, like playing Ludo on your phone with other people when nobody can scatter the board, which was one of the biggest problems with Ludo, to be honest. The next question was, what's my personality type? I'm definitely extroverted and also introverted. I'm more of a sanguine melancholy. More melancholy than sanguine, I guess, in some aspects, but a good blend of both, to be honest. I never used to know about personality types until I had the conversation with my wife, then girlfriend. She wanted us to learn about our personality types, so that we would understand each other better. And it was a brilliant conversation, to be honest. Conversations are so important. You learn so much from it, which is another reason why podcasting is important. And I'm happy I'm really doing this. Morning or night person? I'm a night person more than I am a morning person. I don't know why. I'm more of a night person. Somebody else, Starboy Fidel asked, take me through your entrepreneurial journey. I'm going to have to do a different episode for that because it's really long. But my entrepreneurial journey basically started from the idea that there were problems I could solve. The first ever and most important step I took in my entrepreneurial journey was when I decided to design in university for my classmates that had assignments. We all had assignments, but I would design it was marketing and advertising. So we would have assignments like design this flyer, design this banner, and I would just do it for 500 naira, 700 naira, 1000 naira. Very small money, but that was where the mindset started from. And by the time I went on to sell shirts in school, and then the opportunity to start Be Create with Donald came, I took it by the horns. There's going to be a separate episode where I will talk about that, because I believe that it's good to document that too. Next question, also from Fidel. How are you such a bold risk taker? My ability to take risk largely came from a state of awareness. So from a very young age, I was very aware about things and consequences. I think that happened largely because of my dad. There was this way he communicated with me. He always had conversations, and he would always talk about how this happened because of this happened because of that. And that sort of settled in my consciousness, and I was like, oh, and I got the idea and I grasped that very early. And also, comparison was another thing that also made me realize that, let me just share a short story. So my brother and I went to the same school. We went to Igbobi College, but he was 5 years ahead of me, because he was in SS3, I was in GS1. And my brother was this refined guy. He's a full-blown melancholy. He's very serious, very down to earth. Me, I'm this playful guy. And everybody will say, why are you like your brother? Why are you not like your brother? Your brother is this, your brother is that. And I was so young, but the comparison was ridiculous. And that, to an extent, made me realize that, I'm meant to be better. And it helped me because I became very conscious. It was at I think JS2 that whole awareness came. And what happened was, I would usually just coast. I would come 8th, come 5th, come 10th, you get. And then one time I came 14th, and it was a very terrible term. And I remember just standing in school, looking at the paper in my hand when they give me my results, and I was just crying. I was just I can do better. And I think that was where it started from. And from there, I just became really serious about everything. I was still playful, which is something that I intentionally ensured that I did not lose, because I know that the older you get, the more likely you are to be morbid and not happy. So I intentionally tried to be happy, so I didn't lose that happiness about me. But I was aware that I had to make certain decisions. I had to intentionally put myself in this light, and also because of God, to be honest. My walk with God started very early. I remember preaching as a teenager and reading about like David and reading about so many people that were young. Shout out to Chris Delvan Guama. He'll talk about his addictions, how he overcame them, how God enabled him to do that. And all of these things just made me more aware about these things, how the cause and effect of life. And that basically, that mentality, that experience was what fueled what now people will look, I will look back and people will say, oh, you took a risk. But I was just very aware that, oh, I had to do this. I had to do that. I think I'll talk about that in another episode. There's a lot of episodes that are piling up. God help it, brother. But yeah, that happened. And it's just very interesting to see that the little steps that you take, the little things you're intentional with, they change and they mold your mindset. And because of those little steps that you've taken, you can then take huge steps with little or no fear. And then when people that are not you see what you've done, and they're like, oh, that is very brave. But in that moment, you don't see it as bravery, which is very interesting. Like the things that people say, oh, you're very brave for now. In those moments, I did not see it as a brave decision. I actually saw it as a stupid decision. Like straight out of uni, when we said we'll start We Create, one of the biggest reasons why I did that was I was like, we don't have any responsibilities, so why don't we use the next 2-3 years to see how this idea or this market can be exploited and we can build a company. That was the thought. Because I did not have rent, I did not have any responsibility. And I had a girlfriend that did not put any pressure on me to be a certain way. She just liked me for who I was, and that was enough an encouragement for me to just make a decision like, oh, I'm going to sacrifice the next 2-3 years. And shout out to all the people that also supported. Your environment is very important if you're going to take risk. Risk shouldn't be taken blindly. Risks should be calculated and should be weighed and not just taken abruptly. So yeah, that is that. I think I've answered all the questions. And honestly, it's very interesting to see how little steps affect the bigger picture. Awareness is something that is priceless, to be very honest. Very, very priceless. And I think reflection helps, because now that I see these questions and I'm thinking about how things came together to be what it is now, it makes a lot of sense. And it's only in retrospect that you can see these things. That's why I feel like there is a lack of reflection in society today. Like, you see some things people just say and you're like, did you think about this? Did you think about this? And yeah, hopefully with this podcast, I can encourage some reflections. Interestingly, I recently worked on a project, or we recently launched a project called Amplify. And Amplify is basically a way of causing believers to reflect about how they got saved and how God has brought them thus far, and just get you to sit down and think. I feel like it's priceless to just be able to sit down and think about the past, and I feel like it can help the future, to be very honest. So this is the first episode. I'm very happy I've been able to do this. I hope you enjoyed this. If you didn't, let me know how I can improve. Give me feedback. If you did, do tweet about it and get more people to listen. I'm going to be trying my very best to put out as many content as possible. I'm looking at doing 2 episodes a month and just recording a pile of content so that I can just share. The goal of Divide is to share my thoughts on different topics and just compile them in a way that it blesses other people, and one day my children or children can look back and say, oh, that's what Dad would have thought. But yeah, I'm really enjoying this for myself more than anything. Thank you very much, and do have a lovely day. Love and light.